Hi, I'm John Talbot, and I've been in the newspaper business for most of my working life. This has given me an appreciation of good, clear, comfortable writing. It has also led me to be a writing coach here in Missoula for the past 7 or 8 years. The Writing Coaches of Missoula began in 1995 as the Hellgate Writing Center. Today we have more than 50 volunteers who dedicate their time to help high school students with their writing skills. We conduct about 1,000 coaching sessions a year, and we expect that number to increase. The coaches are a diverse group of writers, professionals, government employees, parents, and community leaders with strong writing backgrounds. We believe the ability to think and write clearly is a skill vital to the success of students, whether they plan to attend college, get a job, or simply be active citizens in the 21st century.
I think writing is important. I think it's expression of thinking, and it's the engagement with the students. I can't help but remember the student I had who had written an essay about hunting. It was terribly dull. He was bored by the process of putting it on paper. And yet, when I talked to him about, okay, remember that hunting experience. What was it like to get up early? What was it like to get in the woods? What did it smell like? What did it sound like? This boy came alive, remembering what it was, and it was sharing that experience. It was sharing it through words.
But what I've found is that the most important thing I think that I do is not to help them with their writing as much as with their thinking. Now, a lot of them are really bright, but they're still kind of lazy thinkers. They don't really know how to sit down and do the hard work of going from here to here. And when you can touch them at that level, then they really do light up as much as they do with the writing. It's really fun to see them grab an idea and run with it.
I had a kid on a senior project who was doing a business plan for the business he's running with his dad. What he needed to understand was that writing was going to be important because he was going to have to write a business plan to get a loan. This is a very practical skill for this kid.
Before working directly with students, coaches are required to take a training session. All active writing coaches are expected to attend at least one training session per year in order to review basic guidelines, critique student papers, and discuss and exchange ideas.
It's not too early to start helping them get to that.
So I want to welcome everybody. We have a lot of experienced coaches have been with us for a while, and we have a lot of new people, which I'm really excited about, including people who are somewhat affiliated with Big Sky High School, and as you know, we are expanding to Big Sky.
Is there something that you see that is something that you would start out with in this paper to compliment the student about?
Whenever I come across a student that actively engages the reader by asking a question or starting a dialogue, I always tell them that's effective. Because I think it's important that they understand that they're not just doing an assignment to put words on the paper. Let's try to establish the relationship between writer and reader.
There's two things about this particular paper I really liked, and I tried to focus on that because of your email. And the things I liked were what you were saying. He was talking to me. He wasn't using language that was foreign to him. He was talking like he was speaking to me, and I appreciated that. It was a natural conversation on paper. And then he actually hit on one sentence, which was the first sentence in his last paragraph, that I thought if he could have expounded on that thought, he might have actually hit on a really important and meaningful argument for the whole paper.
And that's your thesis way down here.
That's right. That's what I wanted to see be moved up.
Because it was a good argument.
One guy was talking about a pea green car, and he spelled it P-E-E.
Big difference.
I said, is this a urine-colored car? I mean, he got this big old grin on his face, and he just laughed because he got what I was saying.
One little girl I had on this subject, she looked absolutely terrified. And I said, have you worked with a coach before? And she said, no.
Right, here you go.
And she said, what are you going to do? And I said, I'm here to help you make a good paper better. And you could just see the
What a nice friend.
in her whole body.
One of the best things I found that you can tell a student is everything you need to say is in here. You've said it, you just haven't put it together the right way. If you say to them, you're so into this, you're so where you need to be, but you need to take this sentence and move it here. When you can tell them, you've got everything you need here, it's just like, it's such a relief.
And I tell them, you have done the hard part.
Yes.
You have done the thinking about this book, the understanding about this book. That's the hardest part.
Yes.
Every student in the class has the opportunity to work one-on-one with a writing coach. The coaches review students' papers in advance, following the guidelines set by the teacher to ensure that specific classroom goals are met. Then, on the day we call the Blitz, each coach will meet 2 to 4 students during the class period.
Our writing coaches are here with us, as you can see today, and they have looked at your papers, and they will be meeting with each of you to give you some great feedback. Just having the notion that they're going to have to sit down with someone that they don't know and have a conversation about their writing makes them so much more likely to take it seriously and to look at their own writing much more critically before they even get to that point of meeting with a writing coach.
When they come back, their ideas are more developed, or they've even gone back to the initial questions and looked at those and reworked things. And then their grammar's tightened up, and I don't get distracted by those little things, and I can then look at the paper as a whole on a final draft. That's very valuable to the students.
I assigned a research paper, and I thought they needed, of course, the involvement of other people to critique their paper. It was really helpful, and the students actually have all commented on the Writing Center, and they all said that the tutors that they worked with or the writing coaches were very nice, they were pleasant, and also they were helpful.
I was so excited that when I came to Hellgate High School that I learned about the writing coaches. I was amazed that people would volunteer and come help us and care that much about our upcoming writers.
Then, as writing coaches, we have the opportunity to meet individually with students to discuss their work. And this has proven to be very helpful for everyone.
The future may look upon this a little differently than Mr. Bauerlein does. Mr. Bauerlein is saying, don't change, everything that was going on before was fine.
Being a writing coach, one of the things that's rewarding about it is that when the kids realize that they've come up with a really neat idea and they haven't had a chance to talk with somebody about it, and you go, that is so cool, and that was so sophisticated, and they go, you're really? You go, yeah, it's really good.
Primarily, I use the writing coaches with my seniors on their senior projects. And one of the things I find most interesting and most valuable is that when they meet with their writing coach, the writing coach will often talk to them about that person's own interests and their hobbies. And quite often they will connect with the student that way, either with the topic or with the student themselves on some kind of special interest they have. And this personal contact, I think, brings out some better writing in the students. They can have more personal writing, and I think that's a real benefit for the students.
I had a ranch kid, and he lives out in the Blackfoot Valley, and he's never thought one iota about writing, and would it be something that he would ever care about. I think maybe Shepard was his teacher, and he told him to write what you know. So he wrote like 5 poems that were 3 or 4 lines, and they were about hunting or working on the ranch. And they were some of the best cowboy poetry I've ever read. And so I told him how first substantive I thought his work was in terms of what he was trying to accomplish, and B, what a feel he had for sort of the sound of language.
My work with the kids often focuses a lot on the strength of their ideas and the logic behind the ideas. And as much as I would like to focus on writing mechanics and possessives and punctuation and spelling, The fact is, even kids who have good writing mechanics, if they don't have good ideas and the logic behind those ideas, they're still really missing out. And so a lot of my sessions focus on what is your main idea and what is the support that you have for it and how do you convey that in a very persuasive fashion.
I know you know that, you know your teacher knows that, but when somebody reads it, you have to actually say it without presuming they ever read Mr. Bauerlein's book.
That makes a lot more sense.
Okay.
My writing coach was definitely able to help me with clearing my thoughts while I wrote my paper and kind of giving me better examples of how to say things and not repeat myself.
She gave me a lot of good points that I can go back and revise my paper with, and it really helps, I think.
In my work, in my professional life, clearly I see a huge need and value placed on good writing, and good writing of all different sorts, whether we're talking about creative writing or professional technical writing. It's a sign of clear thinking and being able to communicate well. But beyond that, I think we're all social animals, and what drives us is a need to communicate. There are all sorts of ways to communicate. One of those is through putting words down on paper, and then you have a chance to reflect on them, look at them, make them more effective, make them work for you. People who can do that just, I think, tend to be more successful in life.
Helping students learn to think and write clearly will serve our teenagers well as they mature and become members of the community wherever life may lead them.